What is up, guys and gals? Welcome to another episode of the Nonstop Review. I'm your host, as always, Devon, and joining me equally as always is Rick.
Hello, everybody.
Although we should probably say non-stop retrospective for this kind of episode, shouldn't we?
Yeah, a non-stop wrap-up.
Yeah. So what we do is we look back at the leaderboard, basically, and see how things shaped up and how we got where we are. Now...
Yeah, and this time it's for Season 2 of Regular Show.
Exactly. And this time, before we dive into that, I need to ask Rick if he did his homework correctly.
Oh, shit. What was the homework?
That is a no.
It's a no. It's definitely a no.
How many points did you get this season?
I think I do have these. I don't have the earlier ones, but...
Well, if you don't have all of them, we'll have to skip, and that's fine, but it's probably a mercy, truth be told, considering we both know you scored very poorly.
Yeah. From the ones that I know I've written down, it's 1 point for 1 week, 3/4 of a point for another, so, and then like 1 1.25 was the most points I ever got in a week.
Okay, we'll leave that then. We'll change that going forward in that we're going to do it for like out of 5 rather than out of 1, because that's why Rick gets like 1.25 points out of... By the way, because we record in 4 segment chunks, that's 1.25 out of 4.
Yes. I think the most I've ever gotten is 3/4 of a point for a single episode, and that's from the most recent one. I got 3/4 of a point for 1 episode and 0 for the other 3.
But yes, we're looking at our MVP board today, so even more numbers. Rick has the final tally in front of him, which means we've spoilt the first place for him, but whatever. So we're going to start with... We had 3 characters this time that actually got knocked off the leaderboard. If you remember the Season 1 wrap-up, we actually had no characters get knocked off, but there was also only like 13 episodes, so we didn't even fill up half the board.
Yeah.
So this time we'll go from the bottom upwards. There's a big chunk of characters that just have 1 point, and that's what we're dealing with first and foremost. So first and foremost, we have Father Time with 1 point.
Yeah, is he one of the characters that shows up in the future again, or is he kind of like one and done?
I believe he shows up in the future, but he never has a significant role.
Sure. This is one of the ones where I like miraculously did get a point, because I was like, oh man, they go to the house of Kronos, master of all time, and all I didn't get right of that was A, his actual title, and B, the fact that all his shit was invisible.
I don't think he did get a full point.
Yeah, no, I've never gotten a full point.
In fact, I don't think I even gave out points during the early ones, maybe. I don't know.
No. Yeah, I don't think we did. But then we shifted to points, and from now on we'll be recording them.
But next we have Peeps. He also got 1 point. He was an antagonist for an episode.
Yeah! I think he was a cool antagonist.
I think he was...
And it showed Benson being both controlling and reasonable when you realised how much of a shit that Peeps was.
It was one of those where the only reason it got this far is because every time Benson... It's the old Dragon Age thing of like the harder we squeezed, the more they fought, and the more they fought, the harder we squeezed. It's just a destructive cycle. And Benson was the one who ultimately ended it, but he kind of had to.
Yeah, he both started and ended it to a degree. But also, Mordecai and Rigby were being Mordecai and Rigby, so he had to do something.
Just do your fucking job, kids.
Yeah.
Especially
when... the majority of Benson's rants are just like condensed to just putting his hand on his forehead and then just going, do your job, as he turns red for a little bit and then just walks off.
And as we just learnt, Rick can't do a Benson impression, so he did Muscle Man.
Yeah, no, Muscle Man is this one. It's Yajirobe.
Peeps was an ordeal. It's just Mordecai and Rigby are a bit of an enigma in the sense that they're always like not happy that they're getting moaned at, but they're getting moaned at because they're not doing their job, and then they get mad because they don't have enough responsibility, and it's like, you can't have more responsibility, you don't even clean up the trash.
Yeah.
It's almost irritating as a viewer.
Yes, it's very irritating, and we've all worked with people like that.
I mean, I work in retail, so enough said.
Yep.
And next character we got that actually got bumped off was Garrett Bobby Ferguson, GBF, Giant Beard Face.
Ah, yeah, the Giant Beard Face. Yeah, this is another one of those bit part characters that is very definitely just the villain for that one episode.
Except you're wrong, because this one does come back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The GBF. I also like that it's like the inverse of the BFG.
Yeah. This is the episode where I was like, can we make these jokes about Dickhead McGee who cheated at Donkey Kong? I've forgotten his name.
Yeah.
I've generally forgotten his name. Garrett Mitchell, something Mitchell.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, we can make that gag.
We can make that gag, but he sued people for less.
Sure, fair enough.
But anyway, I'm not going to say it, but it's like, good luck. I got 100 quid to my name. This is also the episode where
you've admitted to having it.
This is also the episode where I got really mad at you for the MVP, Rick.
Oh yeah, did I pick someone who didn't have a name?
Yeah, you picked someone who didn't have a name and was on screen for 3 seconds, and it's like, that's not your MVP. Stop being a dick. Like, no, that can't be your MVP. Stop being a dick. That was the only thing I could think of to say. Because no name, nothing. On screen for 5 seconds. That's my favourite guy, him. That one. Dusty Hooves. That's my blob shitto.
My glob shitto for regular show season 2.
Oh, jeez.
That guy.
Asshole. But yes, now we move on to people who didn't get knocked off our board, but still very firmly on only 1 point. The bottom of our list at the moment is the Hammer.
Yeah, the fighting games NES guy.
Yeah, who got made into real life shit because they had to bullshit a rig.
Yeah, they did. And didn't he also punch Muscle Man in the gut?
I think so, but it was deserved. He also killed a guy.
He did.
The guy who hooked them up with the cheap TV that they couldn't sell, and the boss is like, his boss was like, you're fired for giving away a TV, which didn't even have a fucking plug that worked in any known country.
Yeah, it's like a weird shaped TV that just didn't work anywhere.
I'm picturing the plug, and like one of them was like a corkscrew. It was so fucking over the top silly.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's what British plugs look like to people who are not British.
Not really though. Not a corkscrew.
It's got 3. Why has it got 3? Oh well, that one is in case it overloads and it needs to send electricity down to the earth. Oh no, but you've got in and out. Why is there a 3?
Yeah, but again, they're all still just prongs, very clearly plug prongs. One of the 3 was a corkscrew.
Yeah. Yep.
Next up, we've got the Lord of Darthon himself, Darthon.
Yeah, I like Darthon. He was funny. He wasn't cool, but he was funny.
He was the definition of that guy.
Yep. Do we see him again?
I don't believe we do.
But
it's almost implied that he's dead.
It was possibly the best episode of the season, at least for us.
Well, no, I've told you my favourite episode of the season.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, it's a good one. I know you'd enjoy it because it's just a piss take of D&D.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Starla, and fun fact, yes, that is the only image I could find of her that was a PNG, which includes her tits being weird.
Yep. Is it Starla Gutsman-Dottir or something?
I don't remember her surname. I just call her Starla.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one of us gave her the point.
I think it was like one for Starla, one for Muscle Man Mitch.
I mean, yeah, that was almost certainly the split. I just can't remember which one of us gave her the point. This was obviously her intro episode because it's the only episode she's really been in.
Yeah.
She does get more play later on, but in this season it was literally just, yep, this is Muscle Woman.
Yep.
Next up, we've got the character whose name I've forgotten. He's the otter who pretended to be Rigby and was voiced by Sonic.
Yeah. He slowly started morphing into Rigby because Rigby hired him as his own temp to do all of his jobs.
Was it Chaz or something? Glenn?
Something like that.
It was a really dumb name.
It was a short name.
Sorry,
it wasn't Don because that's Rigby's actual old, younger, taller brother.
Yeah. I said dumb, not Dom. Just to be clear.
I know you did, but it's like I know it's a short name and I know it's not Don.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I don't know if we see this character again. We might not.
Well, depending on how well he does his shapeshifting, you might never know.
It's not shapeshifting. Like, he does look enough like Rigby anyway.
Yeah, and he like put some paint on his tail.
Here. Next up with the 1-pointers, we have High Five Ghost.
Yeah,
High Five Ghost is a good guy. He's almost always featured in episodes where Muscle Man is a big player.
Yeah. I think the downside of High Five Ghost is that he generally doesn't do much other than just high five. He's there to make Muscle Man not look like a loner.
He doesn't even high five people, Rick.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think he's called High Five Ghost literally just because his hand is permanently in a high five pose.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, High Five Ghost obviously is another character that gets a lot more play later on. Like, I'm looking at this board, the The characters that are at the top end of the board, it's like, yeah, makes sense. They're in a lot of episodes. The other ones are real bit players, but like, I'm looking at the fact we've got Eileen on here coming up, and we've got Starla and High Five Ghost, really low scorers, but they become more part of the core cast as the series goes on.
Yeah, like Eileen was in season 1, but she wasn't really in the position to be
no, she wasn't
an MVP in season 1. Was she not?
No.
Okay.
Well,
I'm wrong.
You know what? She might have been in the last episode, maybe. I don't remember her appearing.
Yeah. If she was in it, she wasn't important enough to get an MVP.
I don't think she shows up in series 1 at all, so I think it's just Margaret.
Sure.
Anyway,
and speaking of, Margaret's not even on the board this time.
But she showed up in the same episode as Eileen was important.
Yeah, and Eileen was better.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Margaret because of things that happen later on.
Fair enough.
But anyway, next up on our ones, we have Death himself.
Yeah, Mullet Death.
Yeah, very much. Honestly, he looks like he was modelled off of Lemmy Kilmister.
Yeah, he does. It's like Death Lemmy.
The big joke in this first series, obviously, being that he's got one really swole arm, and he will take Skips' immortal soul.
Yep. with the arm wrestler.
Yeah. Next up, we have the Night Owl. This character is definitely one and done, especially in this form.
Yeah. This form being the future form, where he is both his original face and a Night Owl robot carrying his face around.
I believe this character was also voiced by Sonic.
Yeah, probably about right.
This episode was one of the wilder ones where it's just like, yeah, in America it's a thing where you would have radio competitions that were just dumb like this. Not really a thing in the UK.
No, because the smallest local radio that you can really have is for 3 or 4 cities, and people are not going to go 4 cities away to do a thing, because that's an hour and a half of driving, whereas in America an hour and a half of driving is Monday morning.
I think it's actually it's usually the little local stations that pull shit like this, so I think the argument's invalid there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think the smallest thing that we have for that in the UK is 3 or 4 cities, whereas in America you can have one that's just for a town.
I mean,
okay, The Simpsons is a bad yardstick, but they have essentially their own radio station that's for them and Shelbyville.
Hello, this is Mole Man in the morning. Good Mole Man to you.
Yep.
Isn't that one of them?
Yep. KBBL Talk Radio.
Yeah, it's such a American sitcom joke, because even Family Guy had an episode where Brian and Stewie are now radio hosts.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, it's one of those low bar for entry, have a go hero things that people making media like cartoons can point to that and go, yeah, that's easier than what we do.
Yeah, like making a podcast.
Yeah.
You saying that, I remember watching. There used to be a show on when WWE had their own streaming service where they would just put a camera in a wrestler's car while they were driving between shows, and they would just shoot the shit and then trim it down until it was just the good bits. And one of the cars they put it in was Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett is British English, and he was sharing a car with Sheamus, who's Irish as fuck. If you don't know who Sheamus is, look that guy up, and you'll be like, yeah, that looks like an Irish person.
Yep.
And they're talking about it, and they're flicking through the radio, and Ray Barrett's just like, there's nothing good on the fucking radio, except he didn't swear because he's better than that. And then he's just lounging as he's driving the car, and he just says the funniest statement to me, because it really made me guffaw. And it was just at least when you're in England you can get 5 Live.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you are, 5 Live exists.
Yep, even if you got crap reception, you're gonna get long wave, and 5 Live being on long wave, yeah.
It just really tickled me, and I'm never gonna be able to share that anecdote again, so I'm sharing it now.
Yeah, that's cute.
Alright, next up we've got 2 people with 2 points apiece, and looking at one of them, it's boy, did Eileen get done dirty.
She did. She basically only had one episode where she super mattered, but also, we both gave it to her because she's very cute.
Oh, she was very adorable in that episode. It gets better for Eileen, but these early series when Rigby just doesn't give a fuck, it's very hard watching, shall we say.
Yeah. And isn't she actually meant to just be straight up a beaver rather than a human with a tail?
No.
Okay.
Because if she was meant to be a beaver, Rick, they draw her as a beaver.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're not shy about having animal people in this universe.
True enough.
But yes, sharing the spotlight with her is Wedgie Ninja, who's very much a last-minute addition to our board.
Yeah, last-minute addition. We both gave it to him in the episode because he saved everyone's lives.
Yeah, and so,
last week... ending the viral machine, yeah.
Didn't even end her, just gave her a wedgie to distract character while everyone else ran away.
Yeah.
But yeah, we bestow upon you the highest honor we can, which is 2 whole MVP points.
Yeah, because he ain't showing up again.
There might be characters that are ninjas, but they will not be the Reggie Ninja.
No.
Next up, we have in joint, effectively 5th place, Pops and Rigby on 6 points apiece.
Yeah, Pops doesn't show up quite as often, so it's always a treat to see him take part and earn his spot. Rigby, I'm surprised that he's not higher up, but also I'm not surprised because normally when there's a problem, it's his fault.
Well, that's just it, is when the choice is between Mordecai and Rigby, it's almost always going to go to Mordecai from me, because Rigby's usually the cause of the problem, because he's either stupid or just it's how he be.
Yeah, like he's just refused to help with stopping it because he's all in on doubling down on the escalation.
For real. Now, sometimes he's the butt of a joke or the victim, like in the Jinx episode, and it's not fun to laugh at him, but it's like, the amount of shit you do, dude, get fucked.
Yeah, like, you can have a comeuppance episode, just take your lumps.
Like, for real. Yeah, as you say, Pops is a sweetheart. He had the added luxury of being a big focus of the wrestling episode, so obviously I adored him at that point.
Yeah, the really real wrestling.
I just loved how he fucking put fucking Mordecai in a sleeper, and Mordecai was rolling with it and went, Pops, that hurts.
Yeah, because they're doing brother wrestling, where you're essentially playing Power Rangers with a sofa, and and then Pops just shows up like with his
wrestling.
We call it the South Park wrestling, yeah, like actual wrestling with a helmet and everything to actually get people into actual holds and win.
I mean, yeah,
and he's really good at it.
I mean, there used to be back in the territory days, there used to be wrestlers like that where they would train in submission holds and know how to stretch you out and fucking hurt you, and these guys would be the go-to guys for promoters for, okay, I don't trust this guy coming in to do the job, so they're gonna wrestle you. If they don't do the job, you make them do the job,
Right, okay.
Because back in the day, it was almost a Wild West in the territories. People would not trust fucking anybody.
Right, okay.
And you don't want someone coming in, having a title match in your territory, winning your championship without your permission, and then fucking off. But anyway, this isn't a history of wrestling podcast. This is a regular show, silly little podcast. So, in joint 3rd place with 7 points apiece, we have both Muscle Man and Benson.
Yeah, Muscle Man has gone up quite a lot in my estimation during this season.
I did tell you he got better.
Yeah.
Mind you, in those first 13 episodes, he's exclusively just a dick.
Yeah. Like, he's even a dick in this season quite a lot, but, at least he's an entertaining dick against mostly Mordecai and Rigby.
And also, he is ride or die. Like, I remember he got an award in the Light Owl episode from, I think I gave it to him, where it's just like, yeah, no, I don't care. I'm shooting motherfuckers so we can get out.
Yeah.
Like, he will drop antagonism towards the crew when a bigger antagonist appears.
Yeah. And you've also got to respect his pranking.
I don't know, man. His original idea for the prank to make Mordecai and Rigby ghosts permanently was way too harsh, in my opinion.
Oh, totally.
But yeah, Benson is almost self-explanatory, because, like, I don't know about you, but I can appreciate Benson a lot, because yeah, he's a dickhead manager and he's always shouting, but it's always aimed at Mordecai and Rigby, who don't fucking do what they're told.
Yeah, like, I can't think of many times when Benson is angry at someone else. Like, he got angry at Peeps because Peeps was being too intrusive.
He got angry at the new manager as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the blonde lady.
Yeah, who started turning everyone into her.
Yeah. I'm trying not to parrot Benson, but, like, I believe that every time I vote for him, he's really earned it.
Oh yeah. When you said not Peridot Benson, I thought you were like, because Peridot always calls people clods, and Benson's catchphrase at this point is just fucking, do your job or you're fired.
Yeah. Do your job, clods.
Jesus. Benson x Peridot, my new OTP. Dude.
Oh, but then Lapis gets left behind.
Oh, Lapis can end up with fucking, I don't know, Muscle Man.
Oh, no, it's a punishment.
Dude, I think Muscle Man would be dead within a week, and that's being generous.
Yeah. After the 14th, my mom, he just gets flooded.
Now, humans don't need to breathe, right?
Yeah. His breathing's optional, right?
But yes, let's finish off our little recap of the MVP board by our joint winners this season. With 8 points apiece, we have Mordecai and Skips.
Which, in my opinion, that makes Skips the actual winner, because Mordecai's in every episode.
Skips is in a lot of them.
He is in a lot of them, but like sometimes the only actual real choices are Mordecai and Rigby.
But we can see that's not true.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like, I kind of understand why you think that, but you're wrong. Like, demonstrably wrong. By the fact that, okay, how many episodes did we have? 28 episods. Between Mordecai and Rigby, they didn't even get half the points.
Yeah, and we got 10 one-and-dones.
Like, just saying.
Well, 10 one-pointers even, yeah.
Yeah, your logic fails, sir.
Sure.
I'm actually surprised Skips didn't score higher, because a lot of Skips' moments are just, yeah, I've seen this before, and then he solves the problem.
Yeah, I can't remember whether I gave it to him in the Death episode. I think I did.
No, I think you gave it to Death.
Okay.
Well, one of us gave it to Death in that episode.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was giving it to Rigby.
I mean, he was dead for half of it.
Yeah, he was dead for half of it, and he cheated at arm wrestling with the arm wrestlenator. Yeah.
Well, we can't use that as a measuring stick, because Skips also did that.
Well, he did that against Death.
To save Rigby's soul.
Yeah. Cheating's okay if you're doing it for someone else.
I think that was actually, not word for word, but basically what Skip said at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
I only did it to save your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm generally surprised Skips didn't score higher, because again, like almost every episode it was like, yeah, Skips is being a cool guy. And he's voiced by Mark Hamill, like it gives him extra gravitas.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, I'm not surprised Mordecai's at the top of the charts, mostly because, again, when it is a choice between Mordecai and Rigby, I'm always going to, well, not always, mostly I'm going to lean towards Mordecai, because Mordecai, when he's against the problem, is usually actually doing something against the problem. Rigby's just as likely to start goofing off halfway through the solution.
Yeah, totally.
But that's just my opinion. Have you got anything else to add, Rick? Because I'm floundering.
Well, I'm pretty much echoing your sentiment there that, yeah, Mordecai is generally the pick of the two, and we do have our proclivities in favour of the other members of the core cast as well. Margaret didn't win anything this season because Eileen was better in that one episode.
Her one episode, she was a bitch.
Yeah, because it was a mutual do me a solid, let's do a double date because one of us is horny for the other, and that was
like it was
both of the people that were doing a solid were not horny for the one that they were they were meant to be paired up with.
It's one of those as well where it was hard to. It wasn't Margaret's fault for getting annoyed at Mordecai, but Rigby was sabotaging the fuck out of that date like a piece of shit. But Rigby did not look good in that episode at all.
No.
And but like the thing that made Margaret come off as a bit of an awful person is admitting that she just did it as a favour. But the fact she did that at the end of the date and not at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean the idea is ideally that you never reveal that. Because you generally never need to.
Yeah, I suppose.
But yeah.
I don't know, I just felt like it was a bit mean on both people's... That episode was just a bad episode. I think Eileen got double points because I was personally annoyed with everyone else in the episode.
Yeah, totally.
Whereas Eileen was just being adorable.
Yeah.
Look at me, Rigby, I'm burying my egg. I'm a sea turtle burying my eggs, though most will not make it to adulthood. It's so fucking funny.
Oh boy.
But yeah, that about does it for today. Obviously there's no MVP or favourite moment because we're just looking back at the show and explaining our thought process, even looking back at it. Honestly, looking back at it, I think there's a few episodes where Mordecai probably shouldn't have gotten the awards when I gave it to him. It's just we're on the spot sometimes, and it's like, yeah, it's easy to give it an award to Mordecai and Rigby, even though as I pointed out to Rick, they didn't even get half the points, so we're not showing that much favouritism to the two main characters.
Yeah.
And a lot of these one and done characters that have gotten 1 point and fuck all else, is just like they're getting that because they're an entertaining antagonist for at least that one episode.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I think GBF might be my favourite 1 pointer.
Yeah, he is kind of rather memorable.
But it's just so funny. It's just fucking, my wife left me and I'm all alone and blah blah blah, and I went, okay, let's let him have this. It's like, I don't have a wife, no one can tie me down.
Dumb.
I mean, really is. But yeah, that's a nice little bow on the end of season 2, in my opinion. Join us again next week, where we're gonna roll into season 3 of regular show. Rick, we're nowhere near halfway done.
No, we're not. Though we've not even got to the space part.
You know about the space part?
You told me about the space part. You said, eventually they go to space.
Oh shit! I shouldn't have said that because that would have blown your mind. But yeah, join us again next week, guys, where we're not in space.
Bye, everybody.